The Show Me State, I love that. The Show Me State shows Florida by making Don't Say Gay even worse. Lawmakers in Missouri are considering a Republican proposed bill that would ban the discussion of gender identity or sexual orientation at all ages and grade levels. This week, Missouri Senate Education and Workforce Development Committee held a hearing at which the bill was to be discussed. Any public or charter school staff member would be prohibited from discussing gender identity or sexual orientation unless they are a mental health professional and have parental consent if the bill is passed. The Missouri bill is more restrictive than Florida's Don't Say Gay law passed last year. Florida prohibits instructions on gender identity and sexual orientation from kindergarten through third grade. But Missouri doesn't specify a range. Critics argue that the broad bill will prohibit LGBTQ plus teachers from discussing their spouses due to the possibility that it might indicate their sexual orientation. In addition, it could prohibit teachers from teaching books that include LGBTQ plus characters or topics and forbid health classes from discussing sexual orientation or gender identity. Republican State Senate Mike Moon is unapologetic about the possible restrictions under the law. While talking to the Kansas City Star, he said, quote, "Gender identity and sexual orientation conversations would be prohibited. If they think that would be included, then it likely will be," end quote. Wow. I'm glad we live in the great state of Florida. Reading and listening to that. And at the same time, it just reminds me that we still have so much to do to help people where they are and to educate people around laws. Because if you don't understand the nuance of what was being said in this proposed law, it's almost like a blank check being written.
Yeah.
And in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, this needs to be returned insufficient funds.
Yes.
That this is not credible, that this is not realistic, that this is not human, and this does not show love towards anyone in our society. And it reminds me of the question, how do we get here?
Right.
Yeah.
How do we get here?
And this is one of the reasons I think it is so important that people come out. I understand why they don't now, because it's scary. Because the church is going to be mean to you, your state government may be mean to you, maybe political candidates could be mean to you, and that encourages families and neighbors to be mean to you. It is scary. It is scary. But the more of us that people know about, it's just hard to hate your friends. Yes. It's just hard to hate people you love. And so if we're out, then they have faces and lives, and then it's harder to do those kinds of things. I thought it was an internal thing. I've only in middle age bothered to come out as non-binary. Who cares? Well, because of this mess.
Yeah.
And so I want people to know. I identify as queer. I'm a same gender loving person in a seropositive biracial relationship. I mean, all these things that were meant to be just private, just my life, I have to put on display because people are being put on at risk for who they are. And so the reason I really think it's important to come out is because let them know who they're hurting is someone you love. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I'll stop it. Right. It may even fire up their anger and make them come harder. I don't know. But the people who are voting for these people who are doing this need to know they're hurting people you love, and you can stop it.
Right. We've gone back. I mean, just listening to this, we've gone back, oh my goodness. I mean, back to the 1950s, 1960s, where it was against the law just to discuss or come out. Mm-hmm. You know, you couldn't come out, you would lose your job, that kind of thing. You couldn't talk about your life, you couldn't talk about your sexual orientation. Gender identity, I'm not even sure was something that was discussed back during that time. And so we've taken this huge step back, or they're trying to make us take a huge step back. But what you just said, Darrell, we have to come out. Mm-hmm. We have to identify who we are. We have to say, I am an out lesbian in a very happy marriage with my wife. And I'm not going back in the closet. Mm-hmm. And if you don't like that, that is your thing. Yeah. You can pass all the laws you want to. I'm not going back in the closet. Right. So it's that simple.
And there's another part of it. If you do not vote, you do not have a voice. Yeah. I have been voting since 1973 and have never, and I mean this, have never missed any kind of election, including dog catcher. If you don't vote, you do not have a voice. So please understand that, yeah, the legislatures are doing this, but the legislatures are supposed to be representatives of the people. I never call them leaders because they're not. They represent me. So if you go out and vote for the right people, then you can begin to change things. It's going to take a long time because those folks have entrenched themselves as much as possible. And we can still make a difference.
We're not powerful. We're not all powerful. We are sometimes powerless. Sometimes things happen that are unfair, but we need never be silent.
Yes.
They may do things that I can't stop, but they won't do it over my silence.
Exactly.
Right, that's
All right.
right.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ plus community.